A little bit about me, my illustrious playing career. I played for the Wildcats for 13 years, won 5 championships. Not really, 1 year at Slammers at under 18s, and I aged out. I was an average player, but I absolutely adore my coaching, love it to bits. And so what did I do? I went into teaching and then decided I didn't want to do that yet, so now I'm full-time with Sean, just concentrating on coaching basketball. Can I just get a general show of hands? Is anyone here, what do you coach, under 10s? And you can put those down, we can rest them up, won't tire out your shoulders. Under 12s? All right, and down again, 14s? 16s? Anyone doing 18s? All righty, fantastic. So what I've said to our lovely demonstrators is that the way I'm going to show you guys is about your learning today. I'm going to show you how I would teach it to kids from under 12s through to under 18s, and so we'll build up to a stage. I think one of the things that can happen is we underestimate how much kids can learn. Under 12s, under 10s is a fantastic time to coach because they haven't developed any habits in basketball yet. Once you get to 16s and 18s, introducing especially defensive stuff, you've sometimes got to rewrite old habits that you'd like to change. So I'll go through it. I've said to them it's going to be less playing time. I do a lot more reps and a lot more playing than I'm going to show you today, so keep that in mind, but I'll fly through it. I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at you, see what sticks, and I'll be pretty happy if you can remember a few things. So can I get the 6 out that are going to help me? Bring 3 basketballs with you, and I'll get you over here. And we'll come down this end because most people are sitting down here. So what I need you to pair up. All right, you got your pair? Fantastic. All right, and there needs to be 1 ball between 2. Whoever has the basketball, go stand in the keyway. Whoever doesn't have the basketball, stand outside the 3-point line. All right, let's go. Yep, you can borrow that one. Let's go. Who's in the keyway? Who's on the outside? So where we're going to start, so I'm doing defense. Always start with the on-ball defense, because if you manage to train your kids to be exceptional on-ball defenders, no one's ever going to get past them. No one's ever going to score on them, especially under 10s and 12s, because they can't shoot over the top because they can barely reach the hoop. So what I do, and you can go on a straight line in the keyway. Straight line, so basket, middle, and free throw line. Perfect. So what you're going to do, I'll say go. On go, you're going to throw the ball out to your partner. But before we get there, let's teach the defensive technique we want. And because I'm, as I said, an exceptional basketball player, I'll show it. So once the ball gets to your partner, what we want to do on defense is have square feet. So that means our feet directly facing them. For younger kids, I explain it saying you want train tracks. You imagine sprouting from the front of your feet are train lines going forwards, and from the back going backwards. And so you want your train lines to go straight past the player you're guarding and straight through the hoop as well. So that's how I'd explain it to the young kids, what square feet mean. For the older kids, they know what being square to your attacker is. The next thing is you want your feet wider than theirs. Now, I always have a kid ask me, well, what if they do this? And I say, well, don't go onto the splits. You go as wide as you possibly can where you can still move. If you go any wider than that, you're useless as a defender. So wider than their feet, that also helps them get low. And the final thing is their hands. We want it over the top of the ball. Now, the reason for that is I see so many people do this, and I'll ask Aston here, Aston, do you feel under any pressure?
No.
No. This looks like good defense for many people. I'm close, I'm pretty much an arm's length away, I'm here, ready to move, but he's not under any pressure. I'm not doing a good job as a defender. If I go hand over the ball and I'm trying to tap it out, he's now got to move. More pressure now, Aston?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hands over the ball. Now the reason for that, and if you hold it still for a second, is you see this a lot as well. Ah! Now, what does an umpire do the second a player does that? They call a foul, don't they? And I think all of us are guilty of doing it. I did it a million times. If it looks like a foul, an umpire's going to call a foul. So if you teach hand over the ball and flick your wrist, you might not steal it, but it gives you a chance. And that doesn't look like a foul. It takes away from kids taking massive swings, up or down, looks like a foul. So hand over the ball, flick the wrist. So that's the first stage. So if you pass the ball back to Nathan, on go, you're going to throw the ball out. You're then going to get square feet wider than them, hands over the ball. You're trying to steal the ball off them. Offense, you're trying to keep it safe, move it around, pivot, make them work harder. You ready? Go. Very good, square feet. Square feet, Marley, don't give him an angle. Good cruise, nice work. All right, and pause there and change over. So if you're just on offense, you're now on defense. So normally I'd do that, depending on your age, I'd probably only do it once. Once for them, once for them. Whole time there, I'm just watching. Are they keeping their feet square? Are they wide? You want to focus on one thing at a time, just like Sean said. If you have one focus, you'll learn something. 10 focuses, they won't learn a thing. So I was watching square feet there, hands over the ball. A couple of times I saw a hut at the ball and we got a lot of arm. Now, where I'd go to next is, so we've done that a couple times. Let's now add in a dribble. If you're doing this with a full team, you can do this with 5 people at once, but you've got to be very clear with this instruction so you don't have people running into each other. I'm going to say go, and on the first time, it's same as before. You're going to pass it out, and you're then going to get square feet, pressure, just like we did then. Offense is eventually going to put the ball above their head. Now, when they do that, if I borrow that, Nathan, you'll be my demonstrator. So I'm pressuring, it eventually goes above their head. If you teach your players that from a young age on defense, if their attacker does this, they've made a mistake, you're in a good spot. Because what you want to teach them is to put their forearm at the bottom of their ribs and hand up on the ball. Best case scenario, the offensive player is standing up so tall, they're so off balance, that just that slight little forearm bump is enough to make them travel. And that happens quite frequently. Players put the ball up here and they get stuck. The better thing about it, if you go up there, now I'm under here, try and do a rip through and dribble. It's a pain, isn't it? So you teach your players to get up underneath, ideally head underneath chin. And the tall players will go, what? So I've got to do this. And you go, yep, you got to get underneath them. So this time, I skip one step. We won't go to the dribble yet. We'll show this. So offense, keep the ball safe. Eventually put it above your head. Defenders, whack and ball. Are we ready? Go. Steal the square feet. Eventually above the head. Whack and ball. Well done. Change over. Alrighty, so you'd give them one each. I'm just skipping through to show you guys more content, more stuff to teach. So this time we're adding the dribble. I say go, and then I'm going to say go a second time. On the second go, we're all going to take a rip through and dribble to the left. Can the offense raise their left hand for me, just so I know we're all going to go left? Fantastic. Defense, your job. Now we're going to talk about the first step of the defense. When they go left, they've got an advantage. They know they're going left. So your hands over the ball. When they go to move, we've got to cut them off straight away. So you send that first step directly to the side. You keep your feet square. That's the most important thing. What you want to try and eliminate is this habit to drop step. Because if you drop step against a skilled player like Aston, like Jake, like Dylan, all you are doing is saying, please go and score a layup going past me this way. So that first step is directly to the side to cut them off. And then the thing every kid forgets, and me as a coach, I tend to forget as well, is teaching the hands here. You go from hands over the ball, and when they go, you step to the side. You can say up and out with the hands. I personally say, please ref, I'm innocent, don't call me for a reaching foul. So it's here to out with both hands. If that offensive player is driving, your hands are in the please ref, I'm innocent position. So it's one dribble offense on the second go. Let's see how we go. There's usually one mistake. Go. Pressure the ball. Eventually put it above your head, see if they remember what to do. Good, and go. Oh, pause there. All right, look at your feet angle, Nathan. We did the drop step. We said, please, Aston, go and score a layup. That's all right, it happens. Cruz stayed in front, Marley's still in front. Well done, change over. All right, so you give them one to the left. And now this time on the second go, offense, you're going to take one dribble to the right. You guys got lucky. You got to use your dominant hand. Go. Pressure it. Eventually put it above your head, see if they remember what to do. And then move it around again. Try and get unstuck from there. And go. Good square feet, well done. 2 dribbles from Cruz. Dylan stayed in front, good defense. Change over. So this is how I would go about teaching it. Depending on your age, you need to spend more time. Under 10s, under 12s need a lot more practice, even just getting square. As the person starts to pivot and move around, they'll jump around, they'll give all manner of angles to their player. So your important job is to make sure those feet stay square, because if you give that angle, you're just saying, please dribble past me this way. Where we're going to go to now is where we start to challenge the defenders to have to react, because unfortunately defense is a reactive thing. So this time on the second go, offense, you get one dribble to score. You can go right or left. Dylan, I'll get you to go more around to the corner where the 3-point line goes from being straight to curvy. Same for you, Jake. So 1 dribble to score. If you take more than 1 dribble, it's a turnover. You don't have to use the dribble. Defense, if you stay in front of them, contest the shot, you've done a great job on defense. Are you ready? It's on the second go we go live. Are we ready? Go. Pressure it, pressure it. Eventually put it above your head, see if they remember what to do. Good, Marley. Oh, and pass it back to him, Cruz, great pressure. And go. Oh, contested. Nice step back, Jake. That's some great distance covered and change over. Was that 2 dribbles, Dylan? So the point you want to emphasize to your players is, and this sounds super simple, to be a great defender, on-ball defender, all you have to do is stay in front of your player. If you stay in front of them, you've done a great job. And that is one of the hardest things to do in basketball, at least from my perspective. I'm terrible at it. So we'll do it one more time so you guys get a chance to play as well. One thing that I like doing with this is that you can coach the offense at the same time. So one thing I noticed, the first dribble that Aston took, bang, right here, inside the leg, just like we're talking about the rip-throughs. You've got 1 dribble. You don't have to use it straight away. When I say go, you don't have to, like you're a robot. Shot fake, jab step, see if you can move them and then go. You ready on defense? Go. Pressure it, square feet. Square feet, Dylan, square them up. Good. Nice, Jake. Good, hands over the ball. Oh, nice little jab step there. A little early cruise, good pressure, and go. Hands out. And now Cruz is in this spot where he's got to try and pivot to get open. Nice try there, Cruz. All right, so just as I said, the number 1 thing I forget as a coach is to emphasize for him when that drive happens, gets the hands out. Aston was a bit slow, looked like a foul. Umpire could have called it, bailed out the offense. I think that's where I'll stop showing you the on-ball defense. We'll now start to move to the off-ball stuff. So on-ball, if you train your players to be really, really good at it, you don't really have to worry about off-ball defense. If no one can get past them, then you don't need to worry about having great off-ball defense. But I'm still yet to manage to teach a group of people to all be exceptional at on-ball defense, so we've got to worry about it. So this is how I'll teach it. I'll go 3 lines where the keyway hits the baseline, where the keyway hits the baseline, and then in the middle. And you guys can all join a line. You can all join a line. Keyway hits the baseline, Cruz, just across. With younger groups, I'd use markers, because until you teach them what the lines on the court mean, that would have been like speaking Spanish to them. So what I do to show it and to save my voice, I'll get Nathan to come out to the green line here. Marley, you can put your ball down. Cruz, you can put your ball down. Marley, you can come out to the first dash. Cruz, you can come out to the first dash. So we've just taught the on-ball defense. So the keys, if I regurgitate them real quickly again, wider than the offense with the feet, square to them, hand over the ball. The second they go to drive, we step to cut them off and we get our hands out of there. The whole time they're driving, our hands stay out. Now we're going to have to imagine for a second there's a defender on Nathan. So we're now going to talk about the off-ball defense. I love to teach gap positioning. Gap positioning is a principle from pack line defense, and the idea of it, its strength, is to stop drives. And I always teach that to my players. The reason if you teach them why they're doing something, they often buy in more. So gap positioning, here's the first step. You get halfway between the ball and the player you're guarding. So I'm guarding Marley right here. Halfway between your player and the ball. That's the first step. Second step, and more important, is teaching them what to do with their eyes. They need to be able to see the ball and their player without turning their head. And if they can't see both without turning their head, walk backwards until you can. For me, that's about here. So this is gap positioning. The third thing is we teach them how to talk to each other. Once you get to that gap position, what do I say, Cruz?
I got gap.
I got gap, fantastic. I'm in gap, gap. Something simple, something loud. And that is so, as the person on the ball, he's got his back to the rest of the play. He knows he's got a teammate in that perfect position that if he does get beat, someone's there to help. I'll now get Aston, come on out. Dylan, come on out into gap. Jake, did you remember that? You for you, into gap. Excellent question, Marley. Marley goes, can we use pistols? Now, pistols is the idea you want your hands pointing to the ball and your player you're guarding. You certainly can if that helps. I've never taught pistols, but it's a good way to help people out. Could be good for the younger and older age groups. Get to do finger guns at each other. Now, the last thing I emphasize with this to the players, gap only stops, or if we stop drives, what shot do we stop? Layups. Layups, fantastic. Look at this. Bunch of geniuses down here. We stop layups if we stop drives. But we only stop drives if we're willing to leave our player for half a second to stop the ball. So at a younger age group, I would teach the idea, we're trying to teach team defense, so leave your player, your responsibility to stop the ball. The only thing in the court that can score is the ball going in the hoop. So your player at the moment isn't as much of a threat as, let's say Nathan drives past Aston, is not as much as a threat as the person with the ball driving. So as that drive comes, you're going to not just reach for the ball, but step in front to stop him. You being a smart offensive player, what would you do in this situation? You got two players closing in, you'd pass out, and awesome. Now that was a long time to get back out to close that, so what's the weakness of this gap defense? Shots. Good shot makers. So at the end, I'll go through how to address that, but if you're going to do gap, you do give up some open shots to shooters if that's how you're going to play it. So we call that helping on the drive. So you're committing to the ball to slow it down, then you're getting back to your player again. So what I do to teach this, now that I've talked about it, you'd have the rest of your team in lines down here. I say the three people on offense, you can go outside the three-point line. So you can head out, Nathan, you can head out, Cruz. And then you are our first three defenders in. Good gap position, Dylan. How's your gap position, Jake? Halfway between the ball and your player, so you can see both. Halfway between the ball and your player, so more this way, more this way. Perfect. You're halfway between the ball and your player. Awesome. Cruz, you go more out to the wing. This is how I start it, because this drill here will let you talk about everything you need to, then you can just play 3-on-3. You're going to pass to either one of the wings. All right, so you're going to Marley. We close out. What does Aston do? What do you say? Fantastic. And Dylan has come all the way across. Now, lucky for me, these players have done this a lot with me. So he's come all the way across. This will be the player you need to talk to a fair bit. This player's come across, and Dylan, because he knows this, he's had to move, because if he stays over here, he's no longer in gap because he's not halfway between the ball and his player, and he can't see both without turning his head. So he's come across to be halfway in between, and then he's moved back until he can see both. So you see in one pass, there's a massive movement in how the defense is positioned. So we pass to one wing, we pass back to the top. Now, how do we all move as a defense? What do we say there? Fantastic. Perfect. Now, if you pass back 1 second, just skip a step, that's all right. I love you doing that. I don't want you to be robots. So you can come pressure the ball. The ball's here. Where do we adjust ourselves, Jake? Good. So after we pass to the wing and we pass back again, Marley is then going to go sprint down and touch the corner of the court. So you can do that now. And pause there. Fantastic, Jake. Pause there in the corner. You've given me something to talk about. Are you halfway between the ball and your player? No. No. Can you see both without turning your head? No. No. What do you do if you can't see both without turning your head? Go back. Fantastic. So you give them that tool. If you can't see both, move back. And there you go. We're in that gap position again. We can see both without turning our head. The second Marley's foot hits the corner, it's live 3-on-3. Offense can do anything they like to try and score. You guys ready to show that one all the way through? So Marley, you can come back up the top. Do you want me to go through how that works one more time, or you got it? Yeah. Fantastic. Gap positioning. And don't forget, when you get to gap, yell it out so your teammates know. All right, let's go. Gap. Good, now get to the ball. Good. Now get the ball. Good. Move back, Jake. Move back. Good. Now anything you want to try and score. And score there. Well done. So I'll just show that one time. If I was being picky, they've ended up scoring a layup. So they got a drive. And I've just told you that this stops drive. So what went wrong? Well, that there, Marley, it's all right. It's not Marley, Jake. Brand new for you, so that's all right. When the ball went over to there, you've got to come across so you're halfway between the ball and your player. And then when that drive happened, you could cut them off. I reckon let's go one more time with the same defenders. And I reckon they're going to get a stop this time. I've got a sneaky feeling. You ready to get a stop? Let's go. And offense, you don't want them to get a stop. You're trying to score. And we're live. Get there. Get there, get there. Keep your gap positioning, Dylan. Good. Now come pressure the ball. Get the boards. And well done. They got to stop. I'm like a fortune teller. Alrighty. Now we'll swap over. You guys can go to offense now. Defense come in. Let me double check where I want to go next. It's a great thing about coaching, bit of paper in the pocket. Would highly recommend. Next thing I'd recommend is having a watch. Lucky for me, I'm good friends and they put the time up there. Briefly go into deny position. So that's one way to play off-ball defense. The strengths of it helps you stop drives, and at an under 10s, under 12s, under 14s level, if you stop drives, you stop layups, you're probably going to win a game because the other team isn't going to be knocking down shots consistently enough to beat you. 16s and 18s, I'll get to how we can use gap to help us stop shooters, and I'll show you a fun game to do it. But now I'm going to show you deny defense. So you're on ball, so your hand's over the ball. Perfect. I'll give you the 3 keys for deny. Marley, absolutely perfect. Your shoulders face the person you're guarding. Your hand is between the ball and your player. A lot of players like to put their arm between the ball and their player. If you put your arm between the ball and your player, you're standing too close to your attacker and they can just back cut you and get open. So it's just your hand. Thanks, Jake. And then the final thing is eyes. Always teach eyes. You need to be able to see the ball and your player without turning your head. And so that means peering over your shoulder, just like Marley's doing, to see the ball and your player. Deny defense, its strengths. We stop shooters, and you can do it to the best player on a team. It's probably the best use of it. You deny the ball from the best player in the team. If they can't get the ball, they can't score. And it's super fun for your defender because they can watch their player get super angry at them. So the way I would teach deny is before we go live, you can do 3 2-dribble drives at the hoop. Now the reason for that, we're not scoring off them. 3 2-dribble drives is you're going to do a drive, you're going to have to come to a stop, and then it gives the people denying, cruise Dylan, gives the people denying a chance to stop the ball getting to their player. So we're ready to show that. 3 2-dribble drives, and a drive at the hoop means you're going towards it. A lot of people will try and dribble around the 3-point line. That's not a drive. Are you ready, Cruz? Shoulders facing Dylan, hand between the ball so you can see both. 3 2-dribble drives, let's go. Oh, you're going to try and stay in front, Nathan. Oh, you're denying. No helping. We're practicing deny defense here. 1, 2, there's our second deny. Oh, Nathan making it easy for Aston to get open. There's our last one. Oh, cruising gap. That made it even easier. We're live now. Good score. Alrighty. So there you see me just trying to throw information at you, not being clear enough with these guys. So we went through gap. I want you to throw gap defense aside for a second. We're going to practice deny defense. We need to know how to play both. So the weakness, and these guys showed it perfectly, the weakness of deny is you don't have people in those gaps. If your on-ball defenders are set slow, well, you give up a drive. So this is the risks you have to weigh up as a coach. What do you think a team is going to beat you with? Is it going to be shots or is it going to be drives? For many of us, it's going to be drives. So let's try deny again. If you're off ball, you're in deny position rather than gap, which means the responsibility is on the on-ball defender to be square, try and cut them off, get their hands out and play as good as they possibly can. Are we ready to give it a go? 3 2-dribble drives, then we're live. Go. Good. 2. Square feet, Nathan. Good. Cut him off. Hands out. Good. 3. We're live. Deny. Good. Good. Very good, Marley. Good work, Cruz. Nice shot fake. Well done. Awesome work, guys. You 3 will change over offense to defense, and we'll go 3-on-3 again. So you just saw there. Yeah, thanks, Jackson. You just saw there. Deny defense was way better. Important thing to note, and you would have said defense actually won that possession. Aston had stopped in the keyway. Defenders went to deny like crazy. Would have been a 3 seconds call, or should have been a 3 seconds call there. So it's important to highlight those things, especially for the younger age groups. The 3 seconds in the keyway probably doesn't get called often, but it's important for you to teach your kids that that's a thing on offense. So Aston came to a stop in the keyway. Wheel went to deny. Fantastic defense. He couldn't get the ball anywhere. Would have been a turnover. That's a great defensive possession. Now what I'm going to come back to is for your 16s and 18s, and oh, Dylan, you're going to hate this. Alrighty, we're going to get back to gap defense. Cruz is going to go onto the wing. I want to make these guys, I want to teach them for the future. I want to teach them to be defenders of elite players, elite shooters, because a lot of your kids may have aspirations to play basketball at a high level, so let's develop them to get there. So how it works, if you shoot a three-pointer in this game, so three-pointer for you guys under 14s, under 12s is the inside line. If you shoot a three-pointer and it hits the ring, we count it, it's good. Practice your three-point celebrations, you scored. If you shoot a layup or a two-point jump shot or anything like that, you've got to get it in for it to count. Defensively, you guys are in gap. Right now, we're pretending everyone's Steph Curry, because if they hit the rim, it's good. And that's pretty easy to hit the rim in comparison to getting it in the hoop. So this is more for your 16s, 18s. I introduced this with an under 12s group at a camp we just had, and they could get this. Never underestimate what kids could learn. We call it stunt and recover. So this time, when you're in gap, if Nathan drives at us, and can I be you for a second, Jake? If I just get you to pop over there to the side, it would be even better. Over to the side would be even better. Now this time, when the drive comes at you, you're going to stunt, which is like a shot fake, but for the defense. You're trying to convince the offense you're going to do something you're not. You take one step towards them and jab at the ball. It's with the leg closest to the ball. You jab at it, then you recover to your player as quick as you can. So if I show that one more time, you're out there, drive towards me. So we're here in gap, we're gap, stunt, recover. The hope is when you stunt at them, you make them panic and they try and throw the pass straight away, or they pick up the ball. Either way, you've done a good job. So you stunt and recover as quick as you can. There, you've helped to slow down the drive or stop it. So you're using your gap defense. Then you're coming out basically into that deny position on your player. Jake, do you want to jump back in? The glue of any good defense, guys, is how well you talk to each other. When you're in gap, yell out you're in gap. When you're on the ball, yell it out. Offense, if you score, you get to stay on offense. We'll play 3 possessions here. Defense, if you want to get to offense, you've got to get a stop. Game doesn't end till you get a steal or a defensive rebound. Are we ready? And so we have a bit of learning and they get the chance to practice their stunting. Before we're live, 3 2-dribble drives, just like the game before. Ready? Let's go. Stunt, recover. Good, Jake. There's 1 drive. There's 2 drives. Oh, well done. Defense gets to go to offense. If they hit it out, that's good enough for me. Well done. Defense to offense. 1 possession. Ball back to the top. 3 2-dribble drives, then we're live. All right, let's go stunt, recover. Good cruise. There's 1. And see how hard it is even to make a pass. There's a turnover. Well done. Defense to offense. So you're seeing already the intensity ramping up. And here you're stopping the drives, then you're denying the passes. If your defense gets to this, you're going to be tough to take on. So get into gap. We always start from gap when we're doing this stunt and recover. 3 2-dribble drives. Let's go. Stunt, recover. Good, Jake. Gap positioning, Dylan. You've got to be under the hoop now, halfway between. Good. We're on 2 drives. There's the 3rd. We're live. Any 3-point shot that hits the ring is good. Otherwise, we've got to score. Oh, left him open. Oh, missed the rim. All righty. And you're allowed to miss. It's perfectly fine. Come on over, guys. So just there. Yep. And you guys, you can grab a seat. Well done. Thank you for your help. Good stuff. Nice shot, Steph. So the thing with putting in, I love to put in constraints in the gameplay. So there, do 3 2-dribble drives at the hoop. The reason I do that is I want to think of ways to make them help my defense learn. So stunt and recover. You stunt when someone drives. So how can I make them drive more? Oh, well, before we go live into 3-on-3, we'll drive 3 times. So they get to practice it. And then when they go live, that's what they're like in a game. They'll make mistakes, they'll forget. And your job there is to almost commentate it. Notice when someone's doing something good. I noticed when the ball was over on this side, Dylan was still over with his player. So Dylan, quick, get halfway between the ball and your player. You're there watching, focusing on, if your focus is gap position, you're focusing on that. Right there, we'd built up to stunt and recover. So I was watching them stunt on the drive, making sure that it was the same foot and hand going across and then recovering to their players. But constraints are how I like to teach. Rather than drills, let's put them into 3-on-3 with constraints. So the first 3-on-3, pass to the wing, pass back to the top, sprint and touch the corner, then we're live. That's to help them practice on the pass. They move from gap to ball, they move back to gap, then when their player runs to the corner, they've got to move back. That's a focus on positioning. If you want to do some others in deny, I say maximum 2 dribbles every time you catch the ball, because then they're going to have to pick up their dribble very often, and that gives the defense a chance to get a steal in great deny position. So it's all little ways you can tweak the game like that so that they're playing live basketball, but it lets you shape the learning to benefit the defense. I won't go any longer because I don't want to run up Jackson's time. So has anyone got any questions about any things I went over there? Yeah, Geordie?
When the defender goes to like they take out one of the lanes when they drive.
Yep.
Are you reacting to them jabbing or are you reacting to them placing the ball on the floor?
Are you talking about the stunt and recover we did at the end there?
No. So if I have the ball and I go drive and I go fake left on you.
Yep. Oh, you're talking about the on-ball defense?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent question. So with the stance that we talked about at the start, I actually tell my players to line themselves up with their opposition's shoulder. Because if you line yourself up with the foot, some people do like to line themselves up with the pivot foot. I prefer to line yourself up with the shoulder. Because if you line yourself up with the foot on a jab, you're going to move a big distance. If you line yourself up with a shoulder, it only moves a little bit. So, Geordie, I might get you up because they're being talked to. Another thing I teach is, where are you more likely to force them to make a mistake? And if I get you here, Geordie, they're more likely to make a mistake when they're dribbling on their left hand, aren't they? And so I used to teach my players, send them left. But then this goes against the square thing and I'm just inviting a better player to go score a layup. So what I do to send him left, get my sternum, line it up with his shoulder, his right shoulder. Which way are you being encouraged to drive now? That way. I can still cut you off. I can still cut you off this way, but I'm dictating which way you go. If you give me a jab step, I'm still there, but I only move as far as his shoulder does. So I'm not going to get myself out of position as much in an ideal world. Everyone will make mistakes. Thanks, Geordie. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I won't get everyone up who asks a question to demonstrate something. It's just because I know Geordie. Any other questions there? No? Fantastic. Thank you for listening. I hope you learnt something there. I'll pass you on to Jackson now.
I've got one question.
Oh, yeah?
I've noticed last year when the kids were playing mini ball before they moved up, the game was almost completely stagnant because they were so bunched in, there was no space.
Yes.
And there was a lot of reaching and stealing and it ended up like a mob.
Yes.
So obviously encouraging spreading out will reduce the amount of mobbing or
Yes.
with the ball. But sort of when would you try and sort of start, what sort of age group would you maybe encourage them to start stealing as opposed to defending space or just covering their man? Or just let them go for it?
It's a good question because the problem with that is that kids are obsessed with the ball when they first join the sport. And so the thing that first needs to be taught is the team on offense needs to learn how to play better. Is every kid wants the ball in their hands, but basketball's a sport where the ball's only in your hand 10% of the game tops. So the players off the ball on offense have first got to learn, hey, let me move away from my attacker, because if I do that, and all the defenders, if they go for the ball, and there's that little pass, if you teach them to make that decision, then you're going to get open. And if the offense gets taught how to get open and how to beat the defense, then you can start to teach, well, defense, this clearly isn't working. Let's look at doing something else. You know, maybe we've got to go mark players or do something like that. But kids, because they have great success just sprinting at the ball, they're not going to listen very carefully when you're going, no, you can't do that. And they're going, but it works every time. So the first step is to teach the offense how to beat that defense, and then the defense can learn how to overcome that new strategy. But that's a tricky question. If you can get your players to start just going to a player without the ball, I think that's an exceptional job, especially in under 8s. So they're not so obsessed with this round thing. Anyone else? All right, I'll hand you over.